Laudetur Jesus Christus. This is Brother Andre Marie, the host of Reconquest on the Crusade channel of the Veritas Radio Network. I'm here to tell you a few things about our next episode of Reconquest, which is episode 37. We're calling it Queen Isabella's Holy Rule, and my guest once more is Dr. Alexandra Wilhelmsen. But before I do that, I want to make a couple of other little commercial plugs. The first is, if you'd like to get my fortnightly email that I send out, which I call the Ad Rem, that is to the point, please go to Catholicism.org. About midway down the page, you'll find the latest Ad Rem link there with a little graphic, and it'll say Ad Rem, a fortnightly email message from our prior. And right below there is a little sign-up blank. You just put in your email address and hit the go button, and you will be registered for it, and you'll get it whenever it comes out. The second little commercial that I want to make is for the St. Benedict Center Annual Conference, the 2016 edition, which will be this coming September 30th and October 1st. That's a 2-day conference. It's a Friday and Saturday. Our topic this year is keeping the Counter-Reformation going. Guests will include, or rather speakers will include, Mr. Gary Potter, C. Joseph Doyle, or Joe Doyle as we call him, who's been my guest on Reconquest, Mr. Charles Coulombe, who's also been my guest on Reconquest, the Veritas Radio Network's own Mr. Mike Church, and there will be other speakers, including St. Benedict Center's own religious brothers and sisters. So on with the plug for this week's show. Again, it's episode 37. We're calling it Queen Isabella's Holy Rule, and my guest is Dr. Alexandra Wilhelmsen, the professor of Spanish and adjunct professor of history at the University of Dallas. Dr. Wilhelmsen is telling us more about the holiness of Queen Isabel. Last week we talked about her holy life. This week we're talking about her holy rule in the sense of how did she reign as queen? What were her policies, domestic and foreign? We begin a little bit with Dr. Wilhelmsen telling us about what Spain was like before the rule of Queen Isabel and King Ferdinand, and how the two of them united Spain. But what were the problems that Spain was suffering? Not only the Muslim aggression and that last Muslim stronghold in Granada, which Isabel and Ferdinand got rid of, conquered, but what were some of the internal problems in Christian Spain, excluding the Muslim problem? And she goes into great detail about that. Being an historian of Spain, she is very, very versed in these things and has a lot to say, so that we get a contrast of what Spain was like before and during Isabel's reign. Some controversial questions are brought up, including the so-called expulsion of the Jews that happened in 1492 from Spain. What were the things that led to that? What were the social conditions? The rather unique set of conditions in Spain, unique in relation to the rest of Europe, having essentially three religions in what was historically a Christian nation, of course, Catholicism, Judaism, and Islam, and how pluralism wasn't by any means an ideal for any of these religions, much less for any other culture in Europe or really anywhere else in the world. So it was something that was very difficult to keep the three religions existing coexisting peacefully. And we learned a little bit about what it was that led to the very sad episode of the expulsion of the Jews. And we learn more about Isabel's holy rule as well. So please join us. By the way, go to the show details page for episode 37 at Reconquest.net, and you'll see links to some articles on these controversial subjects, as well as links to books that you can buy on the subject. And some of these articles explain a little bit more in detail what we were unable to get to on the show, but we did get to an awful lot. So please join us. Go to Reconquest.net for details on the times and so forth for the show. and we hope you can listen. Also, if you have any ideas for any future shows, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to send them to my email address, bam@Catholicism.org. God bless, and Mary keep you.